It's actually my favorite story, and I share it a lot, even at like conferences when I present about our work. So, so Springboard for the Arts opened our Fergus Falls office 5 years ago. We're a community and economic development organization for artists. So we have two sides of our work where we help artists make a living and a life, but we also match artists up with community development issues because we really feel that the creativity that they can bring to the table can really help communities come up with breakthrough ideas to the challenges that they're dealing with. So when we opened the office, it was just me. I was working alone, and I had heard about Partnership for Health, and I was really curious because I could just kind of tell Partnership for Health was doing things differently, and you just kind of have this gut feeling when you hear about organizations that maybe there's something we can do together. And I remember emailing Patrick and probably didn't make my case very well, and he was probably super busy, and and then I saw that that Partnership for Health was doing the Biker Walk to Work or School Week, and it came at a time when we had been open for maybe 6 months, and I was feeling like I wanted to demonstrate that the arts are for everybody and that everyone has capabilities to be creative leaders in their community. So we decided to have a little bike decorating party at our office, and literally decided like 2 days before the fact that we were doing this. So I wasn't expecting anything really, but I thought it was worth a try. And we had a student intern at the time, so we went to Ben Franklin and just bought a bunch of fake flowers and crepe paper and bells, and I still have some of that stuff, by the way, for future use. And put up a little Facebook event, and it ended up being like our most successful event of that first year because we had about I think 15 to 20 people show up because they were like, oh, bike decorating, that sounds silly and fun, and just a way to like meet other people in the community. So they showed up at our office, and it's where I met not just Patrick, but also like a lot of people that we have ended up collaborating with throughout the last 5 years. And Patrick then came and took pictures, and we paraded around town. We rode around Lake Alice, kind of made a little bit of a spectacle, and then ended up at the Cadets Gallery. But that little event is kind of what started these bigger conversations with Patrick and then with Jason and everyone else at Partnership for Health, just about how the arts and play and creativity can actually help inspire us to lead healthier lives. So it also worked out that Patrick lived in the River Inn building above our office, so he would stop in after work and have we'd have these fun, like, philosophical conversations about the role of art, and especially like public art and active living and so forth. And so as a result, we've gotten funding from the Surdna Foundation to do all kinds of projects, which I'm telling you about today. So yeah, is there anything that I missed with that you wanted me to? Over the last few years, we've really experimented with how to get artists involved with Partnership for Health's main priorities, and I think this year has been the most active as far as projects and impact. So Springboard also has a resident artist program where we bring artists to live on the grounds of the Kirkbride building. And so we decided to have one of our resident artists focus on doing projects with Partnership for Health. So the first list there, we brought Mary Roethlisberger, otherwise known as Mary Welcome. That's kind of her working artist name. She's based in Palouse, Washington, but also does a lot of work in Green River, Utah. And she was just incredibly productive. She was only here for 6 weeks and produced a gazillion projects. I already realized a couple that I forgot to list on here. But a lot of you might have seen her photo project downtown Fergus Falls called This Is My Ride, or maybe you participated in it. Was anybody in the project? Yeah. So that's still up in our windows downtown, but really the story with that was to get these informal interviews of people and why they like to bike or where they like to bike. And what I think was really cool about that was the Daily Journal really took notice of those photos, and they decided to start printing one photo a day in every issue of the Daily Journal in the month of May, which I think is just, it was a cool way to see all the motivations behind bikers, and just that you don't have to be like a hardcore fitness person to be somebody out there enjoying your bike. So it really captured like the array of stories there. And it also lives online, so there's a little blog that you can look at on there. So the photos will be also usable for anything that Partnership for Health wants to use them. We can, there's kind of the downtown image there. So check that out. It's probably not going to be up much longer because it also served as a way to cover up our construction in our new office. And it's been up since about May, so we're kind of ready to unveil the office. So I'd say it's probably only going to be up for another week. If you haven't checked it out, head down there. She also, I'm going to pass this around. Mary also did this Make Your Own Medicine project, which is a mobile kit. So actually anyone from Partnership for Health that wants to come and borrow it from us, it belongs to you as much as us. It is a way, it's a bunch of little prescription bottles, and then she made like an actual prescription pad that has the language on this. And the idea is for people to think about what kind of activities make them feel happy and healthy. So it's also about mental health, and so she set up actually at the Community Health Expo and had some really great conversations with kids and adults and everyone in between, just about what kind of things make them happy. My favorite story from that was a guy first was joking with her, like she said, he was like, "What is this?" And because it was just kind of a strange thing to be set up at a health expo. And so she told him, and so she said, so now you have to think about something that makes you feel happy and healthy and write it down so that you remember to do it. And he said, beer. And we were like, oh, that's not really that's not where we wanted to go with this. But you don't want to like argue with people, so we thought he was going to write beer. And then as he's writing, I'm looking over his shoulder, and he ends up writing "smiling and getting together with my family." And so he was kind of joking on the spot there, but then he actually really did think about it, and it was a way to see some patterns and have people take that home with them as a reminder. So just kind of a fun, playful way to have people reflect on things. And then
I maybe shouldn't admit it, but I actually did write beer on mine.
You did? Oh, that you were.
That was not me.
It was a different guy then. Yeah.
Else, but yeah, I actually did write beer on mine.
Yeah. And I think it was especially fun for the kids and parents to do that together, because it was, parents are always lecturing their kids about what they should do, but it was kind of fun for the parents to ask the kids instead. And then the last one that's listed there, I'll pass these around and you guys can kind of share them. Go ahead and unfold those. These are hand-drawn maps. We have a whole pile in our office still, and we can always print more. It's called Prairie Picnic Party. And so Mary, as she was talking to people around town, one of the big concerns people had was about younger residents of Fergus Falls, particularly young adults and like older teenagers, and just kind of what they, how they can have more, healthy habits after school and that kind of thing, especially in the summer when maybe they don't have as much to do. So she made this map of bikeable picnic spots around the area. And I think what's cool about this is that a lot of these places you cannot find on Google Maps, because you have to kind of grow up here or live here a long time to know about the rock over by the Otter Tail River. But everybody that grew up here knows about it. And so it's kind of this oral history as well as an actual resource for people. So those are the three bigger projects she did. And then she also, I forgot to list on here, did a Make Your Own Bike Lane. project where she assembled these huge bike flags for people to attach to their bikes. So I know Pedal Fergus Falls, that was something they dreamed up together, and they've been handing them out and using them during their rides, so they've come in pretty handy. So needless to say, we want her to come back and do more. The other side of our work, the residency was a big focus, and just kind of connecting Mary and making sure she had what she needed. But then we also in April did 4 workshops around the region in Fergus Falls, Breckenridge, Detroit Lakes, and Moorhead. Patrick and I co-taught them. And these were 2.5-hour workshops that invited artists and community members to come and learn more about community engagement through art, and to generate and brainstorm ideas about projects that could happen this spring and summer. We had about 45 people come, which I think was a really great turnout. Some really interesting conversations. And as a result of those workshops, anyone that attended was eligible to apply for up to $1,500 to try out an idea that maybe they came up with during the workshop. But the key was that the requirement was for artists to partner with some kind of community organization and to address public health issues. It's a rolling deadline, so we actually have more applications coming in over the next week and a half, and I've been talking to a lot of people. But these are the projects that we've totally approved and funded so far. I'll probably have a much longer list at the end of the summer. But as you can see, there's one in Perham that has to do with encouraging people to walk on the paths there, and then as a result, they get a handmade ceramic bowl to kind of symbolize that calories in, calories out idea. They get a bowl of soup actually after walking the paths in Perham. That's Linda Hybara, who's a ceramic artist. Molly Johnston, who's a local dancer and choreographer, is doing a community screen dance festival in Battle Lake. And so the idea there is she's setting up a movie camera in the alley that Patrick and Reba and folks enhanced, and they're inviting people to do their own screen dances. So then she's going to edit that and turn it into this really beautiful movie of people just moving around and having fun, and combining that with another film that her and another artist are working on. Yeah. And then Brenda Levine in Detroit Lakes is working with Emmanuel and Boys and Girls Club to do a combined intergenerational music and theater and movement performance. And then Ruth Smith is also working with Boys and Girls Club to teach kids how they can use art to kind of express their emotions and deal with stress. I think something interesting just that I want to throw out there that has come from these is that even though we, during the workshops, really focused on the idea of active living, healthy eating, tobacco cessation, everybody right now seems to want to talk about mental health, and there's really clear connections between art and mental health. But we just found that even though we came in kind of wanting to have a conversation about this, that these community residents and artists are really concerned about that right now, and drug use. And so we've seen a lot of proposals come in like that, and we've been pretty flexible, wanting to make sure they're feeling like they're addressing a health need in their community that they really care about. But I think that's interesting, and I'm kind of thinking that Springboard over the next year is going to think harder about how we can support that need, and I'm hoping Partnership for Health can be part of that conversation too. So that's kind of what we've been doing. I'm sorry that was kind of long, but oh, and I forgot the sensory garden. We're getting together with a team of artists next week to brainstorm and do some visioning about doing a sensory garden at Lake Region Takes Root. So, any questions? Or I'm always up for feedback if you ever want to email me or call me and make sure we're heading in the right direction with this. So
the mental health aspect is big with SHIP and CWG too. And that's the spread population, vulnerable population. So that's where we've been steering towards too. So it's so intertwined.
Yeah.
To the nutrition, mental fitness.
Yeah, and speaking of that, with our other kind of project over with the Kirkbride building, we've found that got steered towards mental health. I mean, of course it did with the history, but we started out kind of wanting to have conversations about the building and what could happen there. And we followed the community's lead in starting to use art to talk about mental health. So it's almost like these two projects are kind of intersecting and aligning. And we have the Kirkbride Arts and History Weekend in September. So if anyone has ideas of partners for that, or people that would like to do projects during that weekend, we always do the bike ride for mental health. I'm hoping to do that again. So yeah, and I just am really appreciative of all the staff at Partnership for Health and the work you all do. It's really, really wonderful stuff.